pretty safe to say. God give it, God take it away. It's the worldwide American way.
What's going on, team? Proof here, and today I have a really special guest with me. Give a big shout out to Harth. How you say your last name? Hayawi?
Yeah, that's right.
Not bad. I have Harth Hayawi with me. He got third place at the Netherlands regionals for Bushiroad, playing Rising Spikes, his own take on the deck. So, you want to say hi to the people?
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Most of you maybe know me as D-Boy, but also known as Harth Hayawi. I've been playing Spike Bros like from the start of the game. It was my favorite clan, it still is. And I'm very happy to finally get the chance to meet and talk to Proof. I've seen his videos before. I'm a very big fan of his. He has a different playstyle from mine, but that's what makes this game interesting. So I'm very happy with this, and yeah, it's just nice to finally be able to talk to you guys, but from his channel. So
that's awesome, man. And this is my first time doing this. We're gonna call this a player spotlight, and I kind of want to make it interview like, asking questions, but I also want to just have a conversation with Harth about just his take in Vanguard, his take on Spikes. And so we're going to cover some things like his deck and his choices and whatnot. Just have some fun with it, because this is what we're all about here on the channel, is having fun. So where would you like to start, Harth? You want to start with your deck? You want to start with your experience at the Netherlands regional? Where would you like to start?
Maybe let's just start with the tournament, how the tournament started, and like the format that we had.
Okay.
I mean, in Europe, like in the Netherlands, in Germany, and in Belgium, we like have the same format. We see a lot of shadows and gears through, a lot of those two. Now we're starting seeing more of Grand Blue, Nitros, but of course because of the new support.
Right. Is that what the meta is normally like? Is pretty much the top meta calls that you normally would expect or what you normally see? Or is it some more off the beaten trail type of stuff like your Spike deck?
Well, we have some players in Europe, especially in the Netherlands and in Belgium, that like play one clan, that they have more than one deck. Like they have gears, they have shadows, but they have a clan that they love, and that's why you've seen in this tournament, I mean in the Netherlands regionals, we have seen decks like Duo top.
Okay.
And when you see something like that, the player has to be very experienced, very skilled to be able to top with such a clan and such a deck. It's the same with Spike Bros. I mean, I went 7-0 undefeated.
Nice, awesome, man.
Yeah. So it's just because I could have played Gears or Shadows or anything else, but I feel like I do have to be able to top with Spike Bros with Rising Nova, because as I said in my deck profile, for some people that already seen that, my first objective was to put Spike Bros on the map. And there were some people that when I, like in the morning when I wake up, I would like to just Google or just put on YouTube like Spike Bros and then check the first date. So if there's anything that got posted about Spike Bros, I would like to see that. And it's the same with this. I would love when somebody top with Spike Bros. And some of my friends told me that, like, if you don't know, if you are not the one who tops with Spike Bros, then we don't even know who can do that. so I told them I know more than one that plays Spike Bros like you, Proof, and I thought this also has the ability to top with Spike Bros. But yeah, I'm just very happy with the results, and I would never play another clan. I do play more than one clan, but when it comes to the tournament and presenting, then I would like to present with Spike Bros. So
yeah, I get what you mean. And that's what this game is about. Like, there's different players, people that like to play meta and people that get their fun from playing meta. Then there's people like us that have this connection to our clan and we like to strictly stick to that clan. even
Yeah.
kind of stubbornly stick to that clan, but we still love it for reasons that only we can see. So big, don't want things to fall. Big shout out to you for representing Spikes and definitely helping put Spikes on the map. And that's why I like doing stuff like this, where like with the guy from the Philippines, Toby, I like to shout out the people that do well with Spikes, just to get more representation out there for the clan that we like.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I definitely like to see Spikers going into top 8 and top 4.
Right.
Also, I've said that in my deck profile. The only thing that I hate about me doing this is like I don't want the prices from Spikers to go up. Like the players that hate the deck.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna happen. Like as
Yeah.
a deck is shown to be good, people are more than likely gonna try and buy into it to get their feel for it. So it's kind of a double-edged sword where we like our clan for being under the radar and we know what it can do, but then if we do well with it, we have to come to terms with the fact that it might get hyped up in price and things are going to become harder to get for the newer people that want to hop into it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It doesn't matter for me. I mean, because I am very loyal to one clan, the price doesn't really matter. But when new people want to start playing Spikers and they would have to give up a lot of money just to start a clan that they don't even know, it'll just make it hard for people to start play this game.
Right.
We've talked about this before, like before the G Zone, you could make very cheap decks, and now you have. If you want to play meta, you have to give up like a lot of money just to be able to play the game.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when you could drop like $80 on a deck and be fairly competitive.
Yeah.
And now
we were very happy to have a deck with like 4 perfect guards. and now you would have to have like a G Zone, which is sometimes you have to pay even more for the G Zone than for your deck. So
exactly, because of just how important they are to your success now.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Let's go into your deck. I saw your deck profile. I've committed it to memory, so shout outs to you. Shout outs to you for making some different tech choices there. Everything is pretty, not paint by the numbers, but pretty commonplace for what people have seen from what I put up. But I'm sure people want to hear your take on why you chose to bring Axe Diver and Lethal forward in your grade 2 slots.
Well, the thing is, as you've seen, the triggers and the grade 1 lineup is almost the same. It's pretty stable. The grade 2 lineup is very different. I did say this before, and I will keep saying the same. When you bring more choices into your deck, you will make the deck less consistent. But you will make the deck more fun, and the deck will be able to get you out of some sticky situations. Like when you play Mayhem Tiger and you play Heavy Wheeze, in my opinion, the 2 cards does the same, but in a different way. But when you play Lethal Forward and Cobalt Impulse, they also does the same, but also in a different way. So I would say keep the 2 options. Keep the Heavy Wheeze and the Tiger option. And also keep the option that has Lethal Forward and like the Cobalt Impulse.
Okay.
The reason for that is, let's say you go into your first stride. You have to read your opponent. That's when you bring a different dimension to the game. Do you want your opponent to guard, or do you want to give them damage?
Right.
If you want your opponent to guard, and that's when let's say you bring the Cobalt Impulse to the game before the Eliza. Let's say you have an Eliza on one side and the Frograder on the other side. You bring the Cobalt Impulse in the front of the Eliza. So you will attack twice with the Cobalt Impulse, right?
Right.
Because of Eliza. So they would have to guard 2 of your attacks with 15k from their hand. So let's say a G Guardian, which normally people would go for that. Because the Impulse boosted by Eliza would normally attack for 21 because of Rising Nova skill. So that's just 15k guard for your opponent. And if they discard a G Guardian, so heal trigger to guard your attack, then you would have one less G Guardian to go with in your next turn, because normally your next turn would be a Dirty Piccolo.
Right.
If you have seen my deck, which I play 3. So that's when you pressure them. But let's say your opponent's hitting at 4 damage. You could just go full out Tiger attack them 3 times with Tiger or 2 times with Tiger, and just finish them off right there. So it depends on the cards that they have in their hands, and also the damage that they have. That's the thing between the Impulse and the... If you take Impulse out and you play on Lethal Forward, it's the same. Lethal Forward with Eliza is very, very deadly. Because if the attack hits, you could use Lethal Forward skill. And then we call an Axe Diver, which you would repeat the Lethal Forward attack. If you know what I mean.
Right, exactly. I'm following.
Yeah, nice. It's so easy to talk to someone that also plays Spike, because normally people will just stare at me and say, what the hell are you saying?
It's like you're talking gibberish.
So in that case, you don't really have to give up the Eliza. You could just leave the Eliza right there, which will cost you 1 more soul of the Axe Diver, but you still could use the Axe Diver skill to call the Lethal Forward again. In the case that they would guard the attack, then you could use Eliza and call the Lethal Forward in front of the Frog Raider, which your opponent would have to guard that attack as well, because normally you will give you the triggers to the Frog Raider, even if the Frog Raider doesn't have anything in front of him.
Exactly.
So they would have to guard 2 of your attacks, and then they would have to let the Vanguard attack go through. And that's the reason why we like to play more than 6 criticals.
Exactly. Like, you see my deck, and like, the hardest part that I tell people with Spikes is figuring out your trigger lineup is going to be the biggest battle you're going to have with yourself in the whole process, at least when it comes to Ryzen, because you're confined to the 2 stand triggers and you have the 4 heals. You have 10 trigger slots to play around with. You need to figure out what you want to prioritize, whether it be hand advantage through the draw triggers or trying to put your opponent into weird positions with your critical triggers. And that's why... Oh, go ahead.
That's the difference between when you... Sometimes you do want to go into Jumper Lily as your first strike. The only problem with her is she doesn't G-Persona flip or flip a card from your G-Zone, which when we go into the GB8, I mean, Hillheart is a very good card, but at the same time, it's just... You could finish the game, but if you cannot, then you are dead, because you would have to give up your hand.
Right, exactly.
To make plays. So, if when you're playing Sparkles, you can't really gamble on the GB8 turn, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You could go into that if you want to. I mean, the reason why I play 3 Dirty Piccolo, which I think we'll come to that later, is basically sometimes when you play against Gear Chronicle or Kaikuro, I've experienced a lot with those 2 clans, sometimes also with May Colony, you will go into late game if you want or not, because you would have to wait until they've used the Nile Griffins. Their defeat flare is very deadly, but normally they play only 1.
Yeah.
And they will not expect you playing a 3rd Dirty Piccolo.
That's true.
I mean, so your third Dirty Piccolo will come there, and you would have an Eliza, a Frog Raider, and 2 Tigers, and that's just the 3 Tiger combo, as we like to call it, I guess.
I call it Trips Tiger.
Yeah, the triple Tiger. So 3 attacks from Tiger is just too deadly. Normally they can't stop that. So especially if that's late game. So yeah, that's the reason why I play 3.
Okay.
3 Tigers. And if we go back into Axe Diver, if I still may have the chance to talk about him.
Yeah.
Axe Diver is like the card that does a lot of work in Sparkles, but the card is so... He is very crazy, but it's... Sometimes you have like a rugby team, and there is one guy in there that you think, well, he's really good, but at the same time, he doesn't fit in the team.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, so that's Axe Diver. you could make some crazy plays with Axe Diver, especially when you don't have an open Rhaegar circle in the front row. And you would have to call something behind your Vanguard, like the Axe Diver will go behind your Vanguard, still like bind the lethal forward from your front row and call it back, and you have one more attack. Especially when you play against Diablos, every unit on the field that you have is very important, because you want to leave some units on the field, like 3 units or 2 units, because you don't really want to get Diabloed.
Right.
So the Axe Divers will just still chill in the back row, and you can always put them back with your Juggernaut Maximum. So there are a lot of different plays, like the lethal forward Axe Diver play. It's very simple, but it is very good. And especially if you call 2 lethal forwards in the front row, then your opponent would think, okay, you don't have any open Rhaegar circle, so you can't call the Axe Diver. And that's when you call him behind your Vanguard, just as a booster, but he does nothing. He only binds and calls again, give the extra 5k, leaves him on the field. It's very nice.
Okay. Yeah, like for people that are followers of my channel, they know that I don't have a high opinion of Axe Diver, because he has those moments where he can be very awkward. But
he is very awkward.
But Lethal Forward was the best thing that happened to Axe Diver, because he gave him new purpose in life, I guess you could say. If Lethal Forward wasn't created, I don't think Axe Diver would see a lot of play at the current time, because he wouldn't really flow with the game plan we would try to set up, because of how awkward his skill can be, because the counterblast cost and the soul cost interferes with our 2 primary win conditions, which is Bacaro and like Bacaro, Ace, and Mayhem. So our 3 primary win conditions.
Yep.
But with your deck being constructed the way it is, with having Alma in there, which I don't have a problem with you playing Alma, because you still have sufficient number of charge units if you choose to go into Miracle Ace. If I remember correctly, you played 19 charge units in total. That's what I counted last time, which is more than enough. Like I say, like 16 minimum, but playing 19 gives you great chances to use Miracle Ace if you need to. So I have no problem with you playing Alma at that moment in time. There's the people that play Alma but then end up having like 10 charge units total. That's where I start to scratch my head a little bit when I see those particular decks come out. But having...
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It's very important to have the balance in your deck with the charge unit. I agree with you, because let's be honest, your Miracle Ace turn, that still is your best turn if they can't interfere with your plays.
Exactly.
There is another reason why Axe Diver is in there. It's because I think the biggest weakness to the Miracle Ace turn or Spikeras, like Rising Nova, is still the GB2 skill of who?
Night Rose.
Night Rose could be, because it's very deadly with the grade 2 that come back and retire one of your units. But we can't forget Nail Colony Darkface.
Oh yeah.
The GB2s of Darkface is just too much. And Dirty Picro, you have searched that ruling before, and I did the same. He calls the units not at the same time, so you can call the first, the second, the third. And when they use the GB2 skill on one of your units, you can't just call. Normally you have an empty space behind your finger. You always have that when you attack with Dirty Picro. So that's when Axe Diver comes in.
Is that really how it works? Is it real? I always thought Picaro was a simultaneous call.
No, he does call the units separately. But even if that was the case, you can always call the Axe Diver behind your Vanguard. And if they could use the GB2 skill only once, you could still be able to use the Axe Diver to bind the unit that they rested and call it again.
Okay.
So, and even give it an extra 5k. So that's when you play around cards like Darkface, the GB2 skill of Darkface. So that's also the reason why Diver is in there.
Okay. Is Darkface a more commonplace deck over in your area?
Nah, it isn't, but it is one of the decks that shuts the Miracle Ace, especially the Miracle Ace turn down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why I like to have the options in my deck. Like when somebody is playing Darkface and I play against them, and that's when you hear me laughing when I call the Axe Diver behind the Vanguard. And I hope that we will see some of my matches. And that's when you just hear me laughing, like, okay, there's no problem. I have the Axe Diver in there. Okay, it will be cool.
Did you run into any? I don't remember your game matchups, but did you run into any Darkface at all?
No, we had one Darkface player in the tournament, which is very, very, very skilled, but he wasn't able to get to the top 8. I think he went 5-2.
Okay.
He wasn't lucky enough to get to the top 8. I think he was in the top 15.
Okay.
He lost into Diablo, I think, twice, but he is very good. I'm very happy I didn't I didn't run off to him. At the same time, I do find it. I did want to play him because I did make my deck able to win against everything. So yeah.
Nice. That's awesome, man. Now, I had a thought, but then I kind of lost it.
Sorry about that.
No, it happens sometimes. That's the nature of going into this freehand. What I like to say. Lost it. It might come back to me. But I saw getting into your stride zone, the biggest thing is your 3 Dirty Picaro. And I saw you gave up a Sea Breeze to put it in there. Did you miss the Sea Breeze at all? Did it ever come into play not having the Sea Breeze?
No, I still have the Sea Breeze in there.
I missed it then.
Yeah.
My apologies.
No problem. Normally I would play one Bruce. Because the Tiger Stride, I don't really play him. The Counterblast is just too much for me to play on your first stride, and I think that Supernova does the same.
Okay.
Okay, he only can charge 1 unit, but you can play around that. You can't really charge 2 units or 3 units from your field, because if you do so, then you would lose the hand advantage.
Right.
And for people that play against me, they would see me like having 10 or 12 cards in my hand. They would think like, damn, you're playing Spikers or are you playing Great Nature? So I'm all about creating the hand advantage and going next turn, going big. The reason or the thing, the secret after me creating the hand advantage is that I don't guard.
Yeah, I heard that. You say you don't guard until you're at like 5 damage.
Sometimes when they attack and I have like a draw trigger or like a critical trigger, which is a silent joker, and I don't really need the face-up damage, then I would guard. But I would never give up like my important units to guard or to stride. If sometimes you have your GB2 skill and you could just finish the game with your GB2 skill, you don't always have to stride. Like give up a perfect guard and something like an Axe Diver to stride with. I can't agree on that. So sometimes you have to if you go into Pekara, because you will get the cards back.
Yeah.
But you don't always have to do so. So you could just finish your opponent off by just your GB2 skill, which doesn't count your counterblast, but it's still very good.
Yeah, I still wish it gave power though, considering some of the other GB2s out there that are similar but still grant power. I don't know why he doesn't, but it's good enough for what we need it for.
Yeah. I mean, Spikers, like, if you look into the Amber clones, all the Amber clones have the same cost. But Spikers, you have also you have to give up 1 card from your hand into the soul. So, and the stride skill is the same of Rising Nova. You also have to give up 1 card from your hand to the soul.
Yeah.
We could say you will fill up your soul, which is good. But at the same time, let's be honest, you're losing a card from your hand. So, in my opinion, Spikers are very good. They are very consistent because they have the best toolbox in the game. But at the same time, they are another clan that create hand advantage. So you will have to play very smart to be able to create the advantage.
Yeah, you have to create your own advantage.
Yeah.
It's not an easy deck to play at all, which is one of the reasons why a lot of people don't turn to it. And it's because people still have old ideas about how the clan used to be when it comes to just bleeding out your hand to do things, but people don't see the smaller details about what the clan can do. So it's a lot of old player thoughts leading to misconceptions about the present support, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen you play the 10k vanillas, like the grade 2.
Oh yeah, I love Panther.
I did like that because that does give you the opportunity to rush your opponent if you want to. You could just put all the 10Ks right there and just attack with them. Also, it's very hard for your opponent to get rid of your rearguard 10Ks. I do like the idea of that, but I can't give up anything. If you've seen my grade 2 lineup, I also have to play only one misery.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know how good misery is. Also, I agree with you on having like the 6 cards, like the 3 misery and the 3 frog raider.
Yeah.
I do agree on that, but there is really no space for me to play more miseries. I have to give up the 2 impulse, and axe diver is like you do need the axe diver and the lethal forward to be able to make the combo right. I mean, lethal forward without axe diver is way less deadly.
Yeah. I get what you mean, because the way that you play is different from how I play.
Yep.
And needing those particular combo pieces requires more deck space. So I definitely understand having to cut out certain pieces to make room for the things you need that you feel you need to prioritize. But as long as you can feel your consistency with Miracle Ace is fine. I don't see a reason to change anything.
Yeah, you have enough charge units, so more than enough charge units.
Yeah.
The only thing that the deck loses to, in my opinion, or my deck loses to, is when you go sometimes into like the mid-late game and you lose your combo pieces because you guarded with or you soul charged them. That's when the deck become harder to play.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it does become a challenge. So I do also like that phase of the game because it becomes a challenge for you to create the plays. And sometimes you even surprise yourself, like you're going into a match and you attack twice with a misery boosted. I call that the double misery combo. You could just make a combo with misery that you could attack with her twice with the Miracle Ace turn and the axe diver. So the axe diver will normally you would have like something behind your misery, which is you could make a charge, and when it leaves the field, then you could call something else with normally another stand trigger or just something from your hands, and you could attack twice with misery and use her skill again. If you don't have enough charge units in your hand, you'll create like you put a draw trigger in there and you call one more unit. So there are a lot of crazy combos that you could do, especially if you play my kind of the build of the deck, because you have way more options, but the deck is very, very, very hard to play, which is the way I like it.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad to see somebody else having a different play style, having success. Just it goes to show that spikes have varied ways that you can play it and still find success, and you can tailor it to your own taste and still have fun. There's no cut and dry way to build your deck outside of like having 4 Rise and Nova and whatnot. Like you can put your own personal taste on it and still find success.
That's the thing with Sparklers. Like you could there is no misplay. Sometimes maybe if you don't charge a unit or you leave a unit on the field which stays there in the way, which Juggernaut Maximum help with that. But there are so many possibilities that you could do with Sparklers. Because the deck, you don't have to call a grade 1 or a grade 2 like Brave or Luard. You have the option to even call a draw trigger if you want to. You can call up to anything from your deck. It doesn't even have to be a Sparkler card. So that's the thing about Sparklers. The opportunities or the possibilities that you have with the deck is like endless. There are a lot of different plays that you could make. But you have to balance the deck, and you will have to look at your strides and say, how could I finish my opponent off? like the triple Tiger combo. That's something that I think most people are already familiar with. And as simple as the combo is, you need like 2 Tigers and Frog Raider and Eliza. That's enough to just make the combo.
Right.
Like 3 face-up damage, which is easy to get if you play the cheaper Vanguard, the Unflipper, which is Alma. And that's the combo. Sometimes your opponents, even they know it's coming, but they can't stop it because
it's just that
they can't
do
anything about Tiger.
That's one of my favorite things about spikes, that you can know something's coming and you can just look at your hand and be like, nope, I don't have it, I don't have enough, and then you end up scoop up and move on to the next game.
If we go back into Seabreeze, I play only 1 copy of him. Yeah, you can't play more.
Oh, of course not.
The Seabreeze is he does you more damage because of the 2 counterblast than he does your opponent. But sometimes I don't use him right away. I just wait until the next turn when they have you, like you have 4. Like I have 4 or 5 face-up damage, then I have enough counterblast to use the Seabreeze and make that turn my final turn because I can use my GB1 skills. So like Call in Misery and be able to use Misery skill, Seabreeze 2 counterblast, and use Eliza skill, which gives you like 4 or 3 more attacks, which is normally enough to kill your opponent if they are at grade 2. And especially because of the new Royal Paladin Jewel Knight deck, like it stays at grade 2. Seabreeze is very good against that. But don't just, for people that want to play Seabreeze in Rising Nova, don't just use him when you get the chance. Sometimes you have to think about it twice. You don't really get a lot of advantage out of Seabreeze because our Stride skill still costs you Counterblast. And in my deck, there's only 1 skill that you could use, which is Misery, which is a GB1 skill. All other skills are GB2, in my opinion, because all the charge units, you can't make them charge. There's just no way to make the units charge if you don't have a Stride which could call them.
Yeah, Seabreeze is pretty much a Counterblast 3 because we need that 3rd Counterblast, which is why Silence Joker is so important now.
Yep.
So let's see. Before we start to wind down, as I have to leave soon, what was your toughest matchup throughout the course of the tournament?
That's a very hard question because, to be honest, there was none.
Okay.
I've played, the first game was against Fenrir Wiseman because I had the first 2 games, I had a bye, so I didn't play them. So Fenrir Wiseman, then I went into Great Nature, the break stride deck. Like when they have the limit break, they could stride and get a lot of hand advantage.
Right.
Victor is very hard, but you have to get the first stride. That's when you create advantage. Luard, but I have tested it against Luard and Diablo, so I made my deck based on some combos that could still leave unit on the field. So to be honest, if some of you guys already have seen my deck profile, when I was very angry because I didn't accept me losing, it's because I didn't really had a matchup in the tournament that I thought, damn, it was very hard for me to win. It was, I was very laid back. I was just having fun. I was playing my games, and I didn't really had to get serious. I'm not being cocky right here, but I didn't really had a very hard matchup. Like, if you play against Gears or Kagero, you would have to be very alert when they use their Denial Griffins, because normally they use also 2 Denial Griffins, and they use their Herterons, like the second one, then you're set to go. You could just go into your Miracle Ace and finish them off.
Right.
For that, you have to wait, you have to be very patient, and you have to consider not paying too much counterblasts because you want to wait until you could just finish them off. Freezer Ray was very hard to play around, but at the same time, you could just wait for them, because normally if they play Freezer Ray, they can't get the hand advantage, so they would have to go into Ultra Ego to be able to create the hand advantage, the draw power. So just leave them chill with freeze ray for like a turn or two, maybe three. That's when you go into late game, and then when they go into Alter Ego or they don't have any face-up damage, then you just finish them off with Dare to Piccolo if you have to, if you don't have the hand advantage. Otherwise, maybe when the new Fighter Collection G-Guard come out from Link Joker, that could
it's going to change things.
Yeah, they could lock the back row, and they would be able to lock your Frograder and Eliza. That would be a big issue for Spike Brothers because Tigers don't get any power.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would make the game hard playing against Link Joker. But for now, I didn't really get any hard matchup that I was at a disadvantage. Nah, I didn't, because the game that I lost into the first and a miracle heal, so 2 heals and like a miscommunication, but I don't want to go into that anymore. So that's the only game that I lost. All other games were pretty much okay for me to win. I don't want to say easy win, but it was okay to win. I didn't really...
You didn't feel panicked or anything?
Nah.
Okay.
I was just having fun, making some crazy plays, and my opponent was confused. Most of the time my opponent was just confused about the plays that I'm making, like calling and Rising Nova behind my Vanguard, and my opponent was asking, why do you call Rising Nova behind your Vanguard? And I was just telling them, it's way too pretty to leave it in my deck. and they were just looking at the card, and they said, he can't attack from the back row. I said, no, I didn't say he can. He's just chilling there, he's just sitting there.
To be used later.
Yeah. He's just a target for maximum if I have to.
Mm-hmm.
And you would have you get it will be easier to get a trigger because you get more units out of your deck, normal units. So, and that's the reason why I call him behind my Vanguard.
Yeah.
But you could also call a booster if you want to. It's the same.
That's awesome, man. So since we're going to be winding down here, I'm going to give you a chance to shout out your team and make any tips to aspiring Spike players that want to venture into the deck.
Well, I'm very happy to get the opportunity to be able to talk to you, and I'm very happy with the results, as I said. For any Spike players out there, and also for my team, I'm very happy that they played the tournament, my team. I'm very happy. Most of them did a pretty good job on that. And for the Spike Roller players, I do recommend you starting up with an easier build. Let's say go with Wheeze, and don't play the 10k vanilla right away, because you do have to have some kind of the right timing to play the grade 2. I've seen proof intercept at the right time with them, because you would have to leave an open space. So don't just jump into playing the 10ks, but play the heavy Wheeze, play the right easy combos, play the Cobalt Impulse and like 3 or 2 Wing Killers, because you do need her in your deck. And when you go into that, just play the deck, test it out, and see some of the easy combos. It's very nice to see the combos that Living Proof does, like when you have 1 damage, 2 damage, or 3 damage. So look into that, and also stay tuned for Crushing the Meta, the videos that we do on the combos. So, yeah.
That's awesome, man. And as he said, he's part of Team Crushing the Meta. I'm going to leave a link to their channel in the description. So give them a like, give them a subscribe if you can. And appreciate it, Harth, for talking with me. It's nice to have another friend to the channel. We'll have to do this again sometime.
Yeah, sure. I'm very happy to be able to do this. And it's really nice to have somebody that you could talk into or with. And they are very experienced with the Spike Rules. So I could just talk and you listen and you follow me. So normally I would have to explain myself twice, or have to get cards with me to explain it.
Right.
It's very nice to have more players that are very experienced with Spike Rules. So yeah, I'm very happy to get the opportunity to talk to you, Proof. So thanks for that.
Oh yeah, no problem. And guys, I hope you enjoyed. Give Team Crushing the Meta a view. Give them a subscribe if you can. And until next time, peace. Be easy. You gonna say bye?
Yeah, thanks guys, and